Okay, so for the last section, if you do want to share some thoughts on SNIA, I know we'll be posting these PowerPoint presentations live on SNIA.org coming up by the end of today. We'll have the presentation posted, and then we're going to take the videos and have those posted as well, so you'll be able to refer to them. They all have contacts in them, so you can do some reach out and get any questions that you may have on the individual technical working groups or on the committees, the initiatives and forums. You'll be able to ask them directly.
Well, I think that generally speaking, we've gone through an awful lot of material today. It does only touch the very, very tip of that iceberg, as I'm sure you can probably imagine. I noticed that a lot of people on the call are related with SNIA in some fashion or another. And because of that, I'd like to try to encourage people to contribute, ideas and thoughts about what it is that we can do that we may not have been able to discuss today. So I do highly encourage people to get off mute and contribute. I want to give a personal thanks to those award winners. I've been fortunate to work with each and every one of them quite a bit over the last year, and it's been a tremendous experience. And I want to thank you very, very much personally for all the help that you've given me, as well as given the team. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it, and I know they do too. I know people who have worked with these award winners are truly grateful that their lives are made much easier because of it. So thank you for that. But the question remains for those of you on the call with thoughts and opinions of your own. What are the things that we should probably be looking at? What are the things that we should be considering, even if it has to be something further on down the road? It's always a deadly question to ask in a large group of people. Nobody wants to take that.
So I'll throw something out there. I think as we see the evolution of our good old friend von Neumann and the idea that compute, memory, and storage are all uniquely independent parts of the organizational structure of our infrastructure, it's time to start looking more at what is driving all of that and looking at things around data specifically and how each of these things are impacted or can impact the usefulness of the data that we're generating, because it's not about necessarily where or how, as we have been very focused on recently, but what we do with that data and how we can make people happier about that.
What would that look like?
That's why I threw it out there. I'm curious to see if that sparks any thoughts from folks.
Oh, yeah, it was a generic question. I wasn't trying to put you back on the spot, Scott. I know you were quite brave to unmute and ask the question.
Well, it's something we've been working on implicitly in storage, well, since the beginning of storage, right? Every other part of the system is disposable, right? Server fails, you rip it out and put another one in. Network fails, you pull it out and put another one in. Storage fails, you've compromised the data, your business is gone. Right? So ultimately, anyone working on storage has always been focused on protection of the data, transport of the data. Everything we do is focused on the data. So if you pivot your thinking to saying we've never really been focused on storage, we've always been focused on data, then I think that's what Scott is saying, is let's just shift our thinking even just a little bit further to say, what does that mean from the organization as a whole? Is are there other aspects instead of just focused on the storage portion of that to how do we make data the center of everything we're doing rather than the storage portion of that?
Let me ask a controversial question, because I think your comments have kind of spawned some devil's advocate question. Is there anybody on the call who thinks that we may be focusing on the wrong things? Ah, we're perfect. Fantastic. Issa's tongue thoroughly in cheek.
Well, you worded it in a way that if nobody spoke up, we were doing perfect.
Exactly. My evil plan is coming together.
Hi, Eric.
Now, what I have to say, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I have some suggestions for the tweaks. It would be helpful if we can evangelize SNIA India also to contribute to various tweaks, so they can also give their suggestions and contribute on the very nice work which is done by Twigs. Maybe we can devise a channel between SNIA India and SNIA US. They can work closely and contribute well in these areas. That could be one of the new thing which we can take for the next year.
I think that's a great idea. I think that is a very good idea, yeah. Bill, you were going to
Yeah.
say something?
I have to come back off mute. I was just going to put out there, I don't have a lot to put into that particular conversation from the standpoint that I'm involved and try to drive the things I'm interested in. And just an encouragement to others who may be on the call that one way that you can, in addition to just this one time, once a year, get something in or sending an email in, is get involved and drive the things that you see are important in your particular segment of the industry.
Agreed. So Amit, let's go back to your comment about the SNIA India and SNIA corporate. Did you have any starting points that that came to mind?
Yeah, we had discussion with Bill. Maybe we'll continue the discussion for this year. Maybe to devise a channel between SNIA India leadership and SNIA US leadership and see the areas where we can engage more. So I'm from Samsung Semiconductor India, and our counterpart is Bill Martin. So we'll try to devise some mechanism where we can evangelize members from other organization also in SNIA India. So they will be more aware of the work which is done by Twigs, and we can also get them onboarded to contribute the work which is done at SNIA US.
Sounds good. Anyone else want to? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I put this slide up of what technology areas the TC plans to explore this year. Those 3 bullets there. I'm just curious if anybody had any comments on those areas or any feedback to the TC or any other areas you think the TC should explore this year.
These are brainstorms. We usually have a little session at every TC meeting to brainstorm new areas. But really, we need folks like you to work together with 2 other companies to take up one of these areas and create a twig. We don't typically do that without that groundswell of support.
Yeah, if I could stir a pot on at least one of the topics that I think is certainly useful to stir a little bit about open source software development and SNIA, and I just would like to hear if there are folks who think SNIA could do more in open source and software development, and in what ways. And it kind of gives us a little bit of feedback on some of the discussions that we have been having in the technical council as well.
And there's existing software development in SNIA on many fronts. And there's groups that are working on open source outside of SNIA as well. And we want to improve relations with like Linux developers, with SodaCon developers, and so forth.
These pauses while waiting for people to get to get the courage to speak is always awkward. I apologize for that. But I think the communication lines are always open. A lot of people don't want to talk in a large group, and that's perfectly fine. If you do have comments or you have even criticisms, we want to make sure that we are improving in a steady state. So please do feel free to reach out and share your thoughts and communicate with us. So Michael, I'm going to send it back to you and allow you to finish this up.
Sure. So as a reminder, we'll be posting these slide decks a little bit later. We've been recording as well, so we'll have that video available. Actually, one for each group, each twig, and each committee, each form, each initiative that presented. Those will be posted within a week or so on the website. And we thank you all for your participation and for joining us today.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Okay. Take care now. Bye-bye.